Ronnie, that's a super smooth shave.
That's because I used Gillette.
Welcome to In Frame Out's Year in Film, where we take stock of 12 months of spectacular cinema and unfortunate rubbish. With the milky slush of December thawing away, it's finally time to mop up the mess of films that dampened our doorway. Having karate kicked in celebration for the 10 best films of the year, let's sit and succumb to entries 5 through 1 of our worst films of 2024.
Have come back looking for answers.
Publicly crucified to death and back again, you already know Madam Web sucks and why it's here. Sony's Spider-Man expansion has been a collapsing star from day one, and 2024 saw its quantum singularity of suck reach new lows. An ill-advised waste rendered almost unwatchable by studio tinkering, I raised my eyebrows so much at scenes I snapped my damn forehead in half. There's more haphazardly dubbed ADR here than dialogue. The only time we see the Spider Gang in action is in one foggy dream sequence. The plot is so embarrassing nobody here wants to be seen with it. And our heroine's weapon of choice is to mash vehicles into people. Tahar Rahim has gone from fronting one of the best crime dramas of the 2000s and one of the 2010s most scorching miniseries to the dead-eyed indignity of this. At the same time, Dakota Johnson doesn't even try to hide her all-consuming regret as she lackadaisically tongues out this dialogue with the resigned exhaling of someone suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning.
You must have at least one fond memory of your mother.
Well, my mother actually died in childbirth. Oh, well, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, I mean, obviously it was bad, but, you know, she died.
I was never mad or bitter about Madame Web, because of course it turned out like this. I bought the ticket, sat in the theatre, and watched what amounts to a 9-figure macaroni picture come unglued. Not out of obligation or investment, but for the rubbernecking spectacle of watching the pieces fall away in real time.
Crazy shit's been happening, and I don't know why. Stop asking me, okay?
Oh, and because I'm not taking up another slot with this, almost everything I said here applies for Kraven the Hunter as well, so just toss that in here to boot. What a sad shot to the back of the skull for Sony's failed experiment in brand management.
Merciful, graciously, hear us.
Deliver us, O Lord. How many times have I heard this? You don't even believe in the one you pray to.
Yes,
The Exorcism is a film that doesn't seem to understand what a film is. In 95 minutes, there are 2 exteriors. And for every disparate sequence that made it into the movie, it feels like the editor deleted 5 more key scenes of characterization, cohesion, and connective tissue at random. There is no lore given, nor theological or narrative reason for this demonic presence. It's just here from the beginning because somewhere during The Exorcism's troubled production, they erased any justification for anything that actually occurs. For example, at one point, Russell Crowe breaks his spine and explodes every light in the building. This is never commented on or mentioned by anyone. Another time he pees blood, speaks in tongues, then teleports away. And nobody bats an eyelid or thinks to bring this up. In fact, by the time we get to the final good versus evil showdown, the filmmakers literally forget to explain why the characters went to this location and how they knew to go there.
No, that's a lie!
The Exorcism's unique selling point, that it's a generic possession movie set on the set of a generic possession movie, has absolutely nothing metatextually or thematically to do with anything. If this movie had occurred in a Buick Skylark dealership, it would have made no difference to how these events play out.
Did you have heroes growing up?
Sure. Sandy Koufax, Joe Namath, Burt Reynolds.
You too, huh? Well, my heroes growing up were priests.
The fact The Exorcism was shot almost 5 years ago, shelved for so long that Russell Crowe made and put out a different Exorcism movie in the meantime, before this finally came out in 2024, will be in no way surprising to anyone who's seen this, and goes some way towards explaining why this is such a mulched, meandering, and maddeningly unfollowable addition to a subgenre with a miss-to-hit ratio of about 4,000 to 1.
You know how they say that your first kill is the hardest? You're my second.
A supposedly canonical prequel to 2008's The Strangers that is inexplicably set in 2017. Yep, this canonically takes place before the events of the original, which they stipulate occurs in 2005, but is set in the year of 2017, and it's a seizure-inducing anachronism that never comes close to making any sense. The Strangers Chapter 1 does nothing worthwhile or notable for home invasion movies, this franchise, or my ability to remain conscious without taking off my shoes, putting them on my hands, and using them to give myself a startling kick punch in the face. When this isn't an insultingly lazy and outright identical shot-for-shot, shit-for-shit remake of a movie that was only ever one iconic line away from being forgotten altogether.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
It's every awful thing about factory-farmed studio horror movies in a leaden, inert package.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you're here.
All this has is a time-wasting runtime of dead air and nattering filler that only exists to be punctuated by jump-scare sound stings and bookended by 3 bloodless kills. Then come characters on a plane of existence somewhere below one-dimensional, bolstered by performances that never convince, but always annoy.
I might just die of starvation.
She was on her way to interview for a top Portland architectural firm when her GPS failed.
She is, however, survived by her boyfriend Ryan.
What?
Fine.
No?
Yeah, sorry babe, I had to eat your remains.
Knocked together on the cheap in Slovakia by a director who hasn't been in the same postcode as a good project for 25 years, The Strangers Chapter 1 is only the beginning of the torture, as Chapters 2 and 3 of this typhoid toilet paper have reportedly already been finished. If that doesn't prove we're halfway to hell, I don't know what does.
There's something going on in time and space, beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
Regardless of political allegiances, Reagan is bipartisan in its badness for anyone who isn't a Tea Party chud. Men in their 70s and 80s are de-aged to their 20s with Halloween store hairspray. Most of the movie is a spiraling montage of GoPro stock footage interspersed with Dennis Quaid saying "well" so much I felt like I was at a Modest Mouse concert.
Well.
And as a meaningful document of an important man, it is an objectively false act of propagandizing fraud that's as tasteful and accurate as a Michael Bay editorial about Boko Haram. Reagan does have a few things in common with its brain fog commander-in-chief. Neither can remember a damn thing correctly, nor do they care about black, poor, or gay people.
It's true, but he shouldn't say it.
The war on drugs, the cruel and catalytic refusal to address the AIDS epidemic, his well-documented racism and bigotry,
those monkeys from those African countries, damn, they're still uncomfortable wearing shoes.
And the tripling of the national debt are shrugged off in an 80-second montage.
Oh, honey, you can't pay any attention to that.
The Iran-Contra scandal, it's brushed off as an unimportant whoopsie in 3 minutes flat. On the other hand, his wry smile, anecdotes about goldfish and horses, a bevy of throat goat affections.
Do you ride?
Sure I do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
And how he definitely ended communism single-handedly, that glue-huffing twaddle gets 2 hours.
I've had enough.
That's right, there is more time dedicated to a goldfish and a horse than the AIDS epidemic and Iran-Contra scandal combined.
Every kid knows his goldfish.
Well, there's nothing like stomping around in your own piece of dirt.
The goldfish, it needs to be fed twice every day.
Well, I will do it personally. There's nothing like a relationship with a horse, is there?
They're beautiful animals.
Whether you respect or resent the man and his actions, Reagan is a dreadfully assembled example of amateurish filmmaking and an insincere patchwork of schmaltz and cyanide haphazardly hung from a shaky clothes hook of lies, distortions, and demonstrably false fabrications.
Loose lips sink ships. This is Ronald Reagan. So until next time, so long, and God bless America.
Let me tell you everything you need to know about Pandora. It's a shithole. I should know. I'm from here. God, I hate this planet.
It's with a heavy heart that I have to report every actor, director, writer, and crew member involved in Borderlands was killed during the production. They're still technically alive, but having prostrated themselves on this claymore mine of indefensible idiocy, I have to assume a significant part of them is now dead.
Hold on. This is rather awkward.
Nothing, and I mean nothing here works, to the point where, after burning through 2 directors, multiple reshoots, rewrites of rewrites, editorial overhauls, bluntly inserted exposition, a defanging from an R rating to a PG-13, and being outright shelved for nearly 4 years, I can only imagine that were we to see the edgelord soup sandwich of Eli Roth's original cut, we'd all go full-on Raiders of the Lost Ark melty head.
Y'all bitches need to eat your own butts with your poopy mouth ass faces until you die from loser poisoning like the stupid pus crotches that you is.
The acting is so disjointed and devoid of chemistry that the eyelines don't even seem to match most of the time, which tracks given they're most likely staring off into the abyss and trying to remember what art looks like. Every character is interminably irritating to the point that Kevin Hart somehow comes out looking the most palatable of the bunch.
My mouth!
Sardine showers!
It's pee. It's pee. Now I got pee all in the middle of my truck.
Visually, it's an FMV cutscene from a game long since buried in a Chernobyl landfill, and as for the editing, seldom has a film been this transparently sliced to shreds and served up as scraps to be snaffled up from the trough. What I assume were supposed to be action sequences are mulched down to split-second montages and resolved with Cate Blanchett's NyQuil narration saying something to the effect of, "It was then that I randomly guessed that I was supposed to go to this place.
Then I spoke to some locals.
Then this place.
Then I ran into some other locals.
Then pick up the thingy, so Eli Roth would let me go and make tar."
It was time to catch a ride and head north.
Borderlands is for people who think the Guardians of the Galaxy are the different padlocks on Mike Pence's chastity belt, and is clearly a film written by and for soon-to-be radicalized 8chan tweens who print off Pepe the Frog memes to read on the subway when their phone signal drops out. For burning through enough money to build a hospital and making me feel sick and sleepy enough to need one, Borderlands is In Frame Out's worst film of 2024. And those were our bottom 5 movies of the year. For anyone who's missed any of our end of the year videos, make sure to check them all out at the playlist linked below. And with that, it's time to say goodbye to another 365 days, and move on to all the fresh delights and miserable moments 2025 no doubt has to offer. A shout out to our Patreon producers Jennifer C, Claire MD, Becky O, Jennifer Fetish, Reed Stoven, Flamin, CC Sings, John Hughes, Arden Hughes, Samantha Hughes, All the Hughes, Tara O'Connell, and Nicholas Lairevere, and a million enthusiastic fist bumps for all these amazing folks who support the channel over at Patreon. Did you manage to catch any of these turkeys? If so, what did you think of them? And what are your personal least favourite films of 2024? As always, the best way to help us out is to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and if you're in a position to do so, consider checking out our Patreon at the link in the description below. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, this is In Frame Out.